And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in business with a showdown between the Empire, who shall be led by Marcus Wolfhart. I guess he does have a mustache. It's like a mustache that transforms into a mighty beard. And today we're going to be facing off against a Skaven, who shall be led by a Grey Seer of Plague on a bell, and shall also be helmed by Aerocrastic. So guys, let's get ready to have some fun and take a look at these armies. So here in the front, we do have Marcus Wolfhart as well as the Witch Hunter. So the way I play against Skaven is relatively unorthodox. I've been able to surprise a lot of players with this build, and it's really good at sniping many aspects of the Skaven army. So Marcus Wolfhart plus the Witch Hunter, if you're able to get some good focus fire on Skaven Assassins, Deathmaster, Lord Skrull, you can kill them so quick. And if they do go with the Grey Seer, for example, Marcus is able to range them from downtown, and you do also have a couple Great Cannons. So we have two Great Cannons, we have Marcus, we have a Witch Hunter, so a lot of assets that are really good against Rat Ogres, because pretty much every Skaven player and their dog is also going to be bringing like quad or tri Rat Ogres against you, because Rat Ogres are very efficient against Empire Knights, which are the common pick in this matchup. So basically, cannons kill the Rat Ogres, you snipe the Skaven characters using Marcus, and the front line basically just holds. We have Flagellants, Sigmar Sons, and Flagellants, which of course, they don't break, which is great, and honestly, they can trade okay with some of the big Skaven monsters. Double Rat Ogres, not Rat Ogres, Rat Empire Knights. Double Empire Knights here, and two in the back as well. So Empire Knights, I think, are the most cost-effective option. I think against the squishiness of the Skaven, you don't really need heavy shock from like Reiksguard or Knights of the Blazing Sun or things like that. So I really just think going with Barebone Empire Knights is the way to go. Last but not least, we have an Amethyst Wizard with Spear Leech. Now for the forces of Aerocrastic, a very nasty Skaven build. He's got Night Runners here. Front line is going to be Plague Monks mixed with some Clan Rats and Slinger support. Now this is one of the things I'm very ill-equipped to deal with. Aerocrastic does have double Doomflare, and Empire Knights won't kill them quickly. I mean, cannons, they're a very small hitbox. These guys are going to be an absolute pain and should really Shrek my front line pretty well. He's got Tri-Rat Ogres and a Grey Seer and also a basic Doom Wheels. That's pretty much it. I also forgot to mention in my army, I do have two Huntsmen. Huntsmen are very good against Ogres and Hellpits, and can honestly focus down, Plague Monks and Death Runners and things like that pretty effectively. So the cannons initially are going to be shooting at the Rat Ogres as soon as I can get in range. And here we have Marcus Wolfhart and the Witch Hunter. We're going to be unleashing their bow shots here. And here comes the sniping shot. Maybe able to hit one of those flares there. He does barely miss that. So yeah, hitting those Doom Flares is a real pain in the butt for sure. But the Skaven are advancing. They obviously have to. A very melee-focused army. The other kind of school of play that you often see in this matchup is several Jezzails, which, I think my build would be okay against it. Two cannons plus Marcus plus Overcasted Spirit Leech and Huntsman. You can usually close the distance on Jezzails and take them out. But still, both builds are very, very tough to deal with. Both styles that you see, Arrow using one here, and of course the Jezzail. So Doom players are coming forward, going to be rolling, getting all Limp Bizkit up in the battle lines. I should have an okay frontline engagement. Flagellants will be able to trade okay with Clan Rats and Plague Monks and things like that. So I do see his Doom Wheel coming in, so Marcus Wolfhart is going to shoot it with the Witch Hunter. Witch Hunter is obstructed, so poor micro on my part, but Marcus is going to be using the Amber Bow, if I'm not mistaken. So here it comes, ripping a fat shot into that Doom Wheel, so much damage, and also a Spirit Leech. So Marcus does have a built-in net ability, which is very strong. And in the front line, the Rat Ogres have engaged, but the Empire Knights were able to countercharge them and do good damage, while the Sigmar Sons, with their unbreakable stats, do buffer that well. So you can see the Rat Ogres really getting wrecked by the Empire Knights there. And of course, the Huntsmen are unleashing some really nasty firepower, and also in the back here, the two Empire Great Cannons are doing good steady damage, which is really nice, because of course a player like Arrow would be able to kind of keep them pretty safe from most missile play, but in this case, we definitely have some good sniping. So my character Goon Squad just goes to show how annoying flayers are. Back here, I don't really have too many great options. I kind of have to send Empire Knights into them because Arrow is getting a lot of free damage here on Witch Hunter and against Marcus, and I definitely don't want that here. Huntsmen are going to be pulling back once again, trying to get away from the Skaven tide as they do drop summons, and stuff starts to really permeate my back line. The Flagellants held well, but of course they took a ton of shock damage and really couldn't do too much about that. Spearman braced here. I was able to brace them before the charge, so the charge bonus here of the flares isn't going to be that bad, and you can see I don't take that much damage, but of course, they have enough mass to just push through spears, and that's why oftentimes defending your lines with simply spearmen isn't enough. Spears don't have enough mass to really stop charges of things, so you oftentimes have to use like Empire Knights and tools like that. In the front line, I've had to use my Empire Knights, like I said. Two groups here. It looks like, one here and one here, and also the Sigmar Sons are holding well, and the Skaven front line is being pushed back in many areas, but here it has gotten through with some Night Runners and some Clan Rats. But over here, it's a victory for the Empire. You can see the Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves are all routing off. The Rat Ogres have been forced back. The Empire Cannons the entire time have just been pounding. And now I have switched the Cannons onto the Grey Seer. Grey Seer is not a great thing for juking, and I figured the Rat Ogres were kind of mellified enough that I could deal with them with baseline infantry. And the Cannons, of course, would be more useful shooting the Lord, who is pretty big HP pool here with 3,000 plus even at this very beat up point. Here in the back, we do have the Doom Players in Mortal Kombat with some of the basic State Troop Spearmen and also my Empire Knights trying to block them up, and Marcus and the Witch Hunter trying to get their pot shots where they can. And I did see some assassins coming in, or an assassin who was going after my caster. My caster was very low, so Marcus, being the absolute badass of the Empire he is, does drop a net here on the Assassin, which pretty much buys me time for, the Amethyst Wizard, and then from there, that's also why you bring the Witch Hunter. So some people might ask about the Witch Hunter. Well, he's kind of a protection piece because Assassins are really good against the Empire and are often used. So he's going to be going after the Witch Hunter here, but, normally the Witch Hunter would struggle 1v1, but if you have Marcus nearby or any other Empire character, Marcus is going to be ripping a shot and they charge in, and together they should be able to beat down this foul Skaven Assassin of Clan Hessian here, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, you can see the Assassin going down very quickly. Witch Hunters hit hard. They also have their pistol shots, so very, very diverse, useful characters. And I really think Witch Hunters are very overlooked. They have a really good debuff. Accusation lowers like a really important stat line, missile resist, melee defense, and armor. Like that is really, really good. I think Witch Hunters definitely deserve more play. Over here, though, unfortunately, the Skaven are kind of taking over this engagement to an extent. Granted, I still have some brave spearmen holding here and here, which the Rat Ogres are somewhat being dragged through. One cannon is still shooting strong, the other one about to be compromised by some Night Runners, which are, taking a lot of damage from my spears. So at the very least, those Night Runners that are engaged are having to trade their lives for my cannon. It's not like a free kill here. And now Arrow just kind of bully rushed his Rat Ogres through, and he's able to jump on my Great Cannons here. So I can't really do too much about this. I do have Marcus and the Witch Hunter chasing in, because I know they're very beat up, and I also do have some Huntsmen here in the back with their anti-large shots, which are basically a hard counter against Rat Ogres. Shooting in, and the Ogres are very, very bullied here, but not before my Great Cannon crew does go running for the hills. So balance of power is dead even. This is just a razor-thin game. Up on the high ground, my Empire Knights are cleaning up, and Aerocrastic in the back has a little bit going on, but it looks like for the most part, my Spearmen and my Flagellants have won those engagements, but those damn Doom Flares just aren't going down, and here I do kind of notice that the Great Seer is getting very low. So in a moment, we'll be switching the fire from the Witch Hunter and Marcus Wolfhart onto that big BC, and hopefully we'll bring it down. Here we have a little bit of a naked caster. Amethyst Wizard, very squishy. 20 armor, 30 melee defense, low HP pool. Dropping a Spirit Leech before he potentially goes quietly into the good night against the Flayer. And now the shot of shots. Marcus Wolfhart winding up the epic shot. Is he going to get it? Grey Seer has 1,000 HP, and he misses. Lovely. I don't know what that is, man. Marcus Wolfhart and Elithanar always miss these epic shots. Now, he's nailed a lot of good shots this game. Not going to complain about Marcus. He's been super good, but come on, man. That thing was hitting the broadside of a barn, especially for an expert marksman. Have you seen the trailer? It's crazy stuff. Now, for the first time, we do pull ahead. Obviously, the Grey Seer being that beat up. And Accusation, look at that. I mean, melee defense down to 10. So now Marcus and the Witch Hunter dropping pot shots where they can. The Witch Hunter's pistol, of course, hits very, very hard. 400 plus weapon strength, going to be ripping a shot here into the back, but the Rat Ogres come in with their giant clobbering fists and are able to get some good damage. Thankfully for me, some Huntsmen have come back online and should be able to finish off the Grey Seer. And Marcus, even in his half health state, probably could finish off these Rat Ogres and win that fight. So he's the net there. The Huntsman's or the Hunter's Snare are able to lock down the Grey Seer using Accusation. Marcus doing the 360 no scopes as he does move away here, and the Spirit Leech should probably finish off the Grey Seer, who does fall. So the Grey Seer is finally down. Amethyst Wizard being beaten down by Ogres in the back. My Great Cannon crew has come back online, but despite this Skaven still having some Ogres and Flares, there's absolutely no way they're probably going to be able to defeat this much infantry. I mean, you can see Empire Knights are just riding through the backline for Sigmar under the Emperor's orders here, and definitely doing some great work on these rats. Empire Knights are just such a cost-effective unit. If I were to go back and redo my list of the best unit on the Empire roster, I might honestly just put Empire Knights. They're just so good for their cost. I mean, they don't hit super hard, but if you put them on another roster, they wouldn't be insane. But on Empire, they're really good because they're just such a cheap, cost-effective mobile roadblock, which buys time for your cannons and your characters and things like that. Yeah, this is kind of my backdoor build against Skaven. I always hesitate to show these kind of builds on the channel because I'm this is what I go to in the tournaments to get my wins. But yeah, here it is, guys. This is the build I've been using against Skaven. It's very powerful. And yeah, I think it's good. I think Skaven can build around it. I think Quad Jezzail could be quite scary, and you could make some tweaks to this build as well. But I do think having the Witch Hunter there to help deal with the Skaven Assassin play and Deathmaster and things like that is really good. Yeah, Arrow's build is really good. And, we talked about after the game, this is kind of one style of play. The other one, of course, is using Quad Jezzail. So I think I'll have to try this build out against the Quad Jezzail. But I feel like with Overcasted Spirit Leech, Marcus, and Great Cannons, you could probably do it. Maybe what you would do in that case is you would cut the Witch Hunter. Although he's so good. You cut the Witch Hunter, you get a Life Wizard to play against Jezzails. Because, yeah, that's really helpful. The Jade Wizard with the a regrowth would pretty much counterbalance a lot of that focus fire, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I really do like the Witch Hunter, but against Jezzails, these characters are very snipeable, which is scary. Anyways, well played, Arrow. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Empire vs. Skaven game, and we will see you back with more glorious Sigmar and, of course, other factions content soon. Take care, guys.